And thank God it's Friday, we can speak about movies. Well, next Friday on the 28th of April, the sequel to one of India's highest grossing films, Bahubali, is set to launch. The movie marks the coming together of master storyteller S.S. Rajamouli and the cutting-edge virtual reality technology from AMD. Arca Media Works, the company behind the film, has collaborated with AMD's Radeon Technologies Group to make Bahubali 2 the most technologically sophisticated VR movie in India. To take the experience mainstream, Arca has produced this 10-minute virtual reality shot of the movie called The Sword of Baahubali. It will be launched in India alongside the release of the movie Bahubali 2, The Conclusion. Now, ahead of the launch in India, this high-resolution 3D photorealistic VR experience was premiered at the prestigious Tribeca Film Festival in New York earlier. Well, let's bring you further inputs and how this is really faring today and the technology behind it all. I have with me S.S. Rajamouli, director of Bahubali 2, The Conclusion, live from Hyderabad. And I also have with me this morning Raja Koduri, Senior VP, Radeon Technologies Group, joining us live from New York. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast here on NewsX. Let me first make a start with you, Mr. Raja Koduri, Senior Vice President and Chief Architect of Radeon Technologies Group. Tell us a little more in detail about virtual reality. And sir, how did it all really come along with Bahubali 2? And before you tell me about that, let's talk about the feedback of people at the Tribeca Film Festival after we've had this display of VR on Bahubali.
Yeah, thank you, Akshay. I'm really excited to be here live from New York.
Sir.
I just spent a whole day at the prestigious Tribeca Film Festival where we got a chance to show for the first time the Sword of Baahubali VR experience to a lot of the film festival attendees. And the reaction has been spectacular. There is nothing of this scale that has been ever shown at Tribeca or any other film festival. So the reactions, is been spectacular. There is nothing of this scale that has been ever shown at Tribeca or any other film festival. So the reactions, the quality of the experience, the scale of the experience that we created is humongous. It blew people away with just the size of the assets, the scale of the assets, and all of those things. And you started how this, you asked how this came about.
Yes.
2.5 years ago, when I first visited the sets of Bahubali, I was just blown away with what they've created, what Rajamouli and team created there in the 200-acre set. I said, this is something that not just me, that millions and millions of people want to experience. And right about the same time, we were starting working on the VR technology along with many other companies, and that's when the whole idea started, and it was a 2.5-year journey to get to this point of Tribeca.
Right. Okay, do stay with me, please. I also want to bring in the filmmaker himself, Mr. Rajamouli, joining us live this morning. Thank you very much for coming in from Hyderabad, sir. I want to further emphasize on this entire experience of a Bahubali going in virtual reality, the technology behind it all, and tell us a little more in detail about this 10-minute short film alongside the Bahubali 2, The Conclusion, The Sword of Baahubali.
Yeah, when we created all the sets and the stories and the characters for Bahubali, we knew it is going to be big, and we had a very satisfying output on the 35mm screen. But we knew we could take it to a different level because I already experienced this VR experience that have been shown to me by Raja, my cousin. And ever since I was thinking how to tell a story in this medium, in this new exciting medium. So we had this medium on one hand, and we had the stories and the characters and the assets of Bahubali on the other hand, and bringing them together is what is the story, the Sword of Bahubali. And once you put on the headset, and you will be transported literally into the world of Bahubali, into the battle sequences of Bahubali. You will be facing the rogue elephant as if it's in front of your eyes, as if it is in front of your eyes, and you will go into the sets that we have been created, and you can whatnot. You will be literally there in the city of Mahishmati. That's what we have achieved with the Sword of Baahubali, And I think a film, whether it's a VR film or a normal film or a TV series, is not just about giving the experience. You also have to tell an emotional story.
Yes.
Because the experiences will be staying with you as long as you watch the film, but the emotions will stay with you after you watch the film also. That is what makes the film immortal. And we achieved that with the Sword of Baahubali.
I can't wait to jump into this experience and get a real feel of it. But Mr. Rajamouli, this is just a 10-minute a separate film which is being released alongside the main film Bahubali 2. Now, Sword of Baahubali, how will this really play out? Because are we looking at this film actually reaching out to a large number of audiences, or will you have separate booths that will be lined up? Because not every cinema also in the country is capable of handling VR technology. So how will that really work?
Actually, it is nothing to do with the cinema itself. What we need is a space to set up our kiosks, and we, in partnership with AMD, are coming up with this kiosk in a great many locations, and Raja will be able to answer more clearly on that one.
Okay, so let me bring in Mr. Raja Koduri on that one. So how do you create this space, Mr. Raja Koduri? Do we expect this to be at every single cinema? Because also installing VR technology, the headsets, the glasses, etc., all that is also an extremely expensive affair. So how does the viewer get to experience it simultaneously?
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Let me jump in. This is something that we have been working on for a long time, right? And we have been planning this for a long time. So it's not just right now after the Tribeca Film Festival. We have plans to bring kiosks, and very interestingly, more than the theaters, we have seen a lot of demand from the malls too, from the shopping malls all across India and across all through the globe as well. But we are first going to start off in India in all the prime locations, and we are targeting mid-May timeframe to install these things, and we have the technology, the headsets, the CPUs, the GPUs, the systems, and also a very good design, very attractive design, and very ergonomic design for people to experience this this great 10-minute piece. And we are also working with other location-based entertainment efforts. There are a number of them, both in India, China, and United States, that are going on. More famously, IMAX announced VR theaters as well. So we are working with them and other key VR companies as well across the world. So our goal is to get this experience to the largest number of people possible, and be able to kind of dive in to this amazing world of Mahishmati that Rajamouli created.
Absolutely. I also want to understand from you, this VR technology has, as of now, been limited to, mostly animated stuff. You would see them, for example, in some booths for you going upon a roller coaster ride or having a trip in space, etc. But the fact that we're going to be looking at Bahubali and being a part of this Bahubali, while this VR technology was showcased at the Tribeca as we speak, I want you to tell us a little more about what was it like for the people who were able to experience it. What did they really have to say about being there in the battle zone, being a part of the entire setup over there? What's the feedback you've got?
Yes, definitely. There are two parts to your question. Let me address the first part. You asked a really good question about, the current VR experiences are more game-like.
That's right.
And what we attempted to create here is something more lifelike. And to do that, it was, first we needed a story with an emotional connection, as Rajamouli mentioned, but then we also needed to solve a whole bunch of technical problems. How do you get live actors and the computer graphics elements all together in VR? And that's one of the key challenges we solved with this demonstration we are doing at Tribeca. And that's one of the reasons why it is also getting a lot of people excited to come and watch. Not just the people who want to experience the story, but all the technical people are coming and checking it out on how did you pull this off with the cinema quality assets, the cinema quality rendering, the cinema quality sets. into this kind of, the game quality VR, that exists today.
Yes.
And the reaction of the people, there are two sequences in this thing, particularly that are getting really, really great reactions. One is the elephant sequence.
Okay.
The rogue elephant sequence, as Rajamouli called it, is just spectacular. The elephant looks so real, it's unbelievable. And it's, right on top of you. And the
Did you have people screaming when they were seeing it live? Because that's what VR actually does. You become a part of it, you get scared, you get excited, sometimes you have butterflies in your stomach if you're going down the roller coaster. So what was it like? Did people come out screaming?
Yeah, absolutely. They were amazed, they're spellbound. So, you have a range of reactions, right? Some people scream and some people are just, stunned, speechless, and they're like, what's happening here, right?
What hit them?
So we see that range of reactions, both from, stunned to, yelling and screaming. But, the first time around, when they get into this stuff, it's just the amazement. They're more. It takes like, a few seconds for them to talk after they come out of this stuff, just kind of digesting what they have seen.
Absolutely. I request you to stay with me. I want to go back to Rajamouli for more. Now, I want to understand what really came about for you to extend Bahubali to the conclusion to actually the Sword of Bahubali. What thought really went behind it? And very important to ask, what were the challenges you really faced? Because like we just discussed with Raja over here, we've seen VR limited to more of animated kind of stuff, gaming, but this is a film that we are speaking of. And the experience of it, we are living it on the sets of Maheshwati. So what were the challenges you faced, Mr. Rajamouli?
The first biggest challenge is to unlearn what you have learned for the past 25 years as a filmmaker on the technical front. Now, you just can't approach a VR virtual reality in terms of how you make a film. In terms of placing your cameras, cutting your angles, doing your re-recording, whatever, all the technical aspects change. So first thing was to just take it away from my mind and to think it of as a new medium and play it out like a child. So that's what we did, and I had terrific support from the AMD and John at Concept. And the way I approach filmmaking is I don't think too much of how I'm going to make it. I just make the story, and I leave it for the technical guys to. And the way I approach filmmaking is I don't think too much of how I'm going to make it. I just make the story, and I leave it for the technical guys to go through the headaches of how they bring it to life. It's not my problem; it's their problem. My job is to create a story and to tell them this is what I want. This is what I clearly told them that I don't want a very low quality a game like a 3D setup. If that is the case, I'm not interested at all. I want the audiences, when they put on the glasses, I want them to be transferred into the set, like you are here. I was talking to Raja when he was on the set of Bahubali. I was telling him, just like how you are now on the set of the Bahubali, I want the audiences to be come into my set of Bahubali, exactly like that. That is the only thing that I'm going to take. Otherwise, let's not.
I want to know, Mr. Rajamouli, what was your first reaction? Because I'm sure you have seen this. You have experienced this VR technology on the Sword of Baahubali.
Yeah.
What was your first experience? Tell me.
My first thing was like,
yes,
they achieved it.
Okay.
They took me to the set of Bahubali. That was my first thing, and it was pure excitement. When the first preview came to me, it was about the head of the giant Bhalaldeva statue rolling down, and you can feel the head come onto you. That is the most important thing. And I think as a filmmaker, it is not just, again I'm repeating the same thing, it's not just the experience. You have to make whatever story you're telling has to be an emotional one. Only then the audience will be keeping the story in your heart. So I think the people who are all the buzz that's being generated in New York City, I really want to be there. I am stuck here. Because it's not just the experience, they'll be blown away by the experience, but the characters, the story will linger on to them, linger in them.
Yes, I request you to stay with me, please. Mr. Raja Koduri, coming from the filmmaker himself, who seems extremely impressed with all the hard work and technology that's been put into making the Sword of Baahubali. But explain to me a little more about VR technology. Is it just a fad, or do you think this is something that will now start penetrating the market in a larger way? Because what I don't seem to understand is that VR, of course, being extremely expensive in this technology, it's really out of reach of the common man. So how do you plan to make it mainstream? How do you plan to go about making it available to one and all?
Yes, great question, Akshay. It's as technologists and as engineering companies, AMD, our goal is to bring this technology to reach of, millions and millions and millions of people, right? And that's what we strive to do day in and day out, and that's what we're working towards, right? And actually, if you look at it, last year, we worked towards bringing, VR technology 2 years ago used to cost, just the computer used to cost over $1,500 to $2,000. And last year, we created CPUs and GPUs to bring that down to below $500.
Oh, okay.
And it will continue, right? And the headsets are continuing to get more affordable, and so is the technology also moves forward, right? That is last year's VR, and to achieve the Bahubali, the Sword of Baahubali quality VR, you need, more state-of-the-art CPUs, GPUs, and all, and they will come down in price again, right? Over a period of a year or two and all, and that's the whole kind of technology cycle, right? I mean, people talk about iPhone, for example, right? It took 10 years before the touch technology in iPhone came to be what it was, right? And I see it the same way, that we are jumping in, and thanks to filmmakers like Rajamouli to go and experiment and tell a story. We are moving the technology forward. We'll move the storytelling forward. We'll move the way to entertainment forward. And who knows, right? In 10 years, the way we experience stories may completely change, right? With the new technology and the new medium that's coming about, with virtual reality, with augmented reality, with mixed reality. The future is just mind-bogglingly amazing.
Absolutely, the future is amazing, isn't it? But stay with me, please. I want to quickly go back to Mr. Rajamouli as well and talk about the experience. Now, Mr. Rajamouli, you have set a benchmark for yourself and, of course, for the viewers as well, where Bahubali is concerned. After Bahubali won, the kind of response we saw, and even you said in many interviews, you were not expecting it to be what it really became after how it was received, not just in India, but worldwide. Now, with Bahubali 2 all set, you're bringing in about VR technology as well in the film. What are your plans? And I know Bahubali is yet to release, but one has to really think beyond. Are you looking at making films altogether, if possible, in just VR? What's your thought on that front?
That's a good question, Akshay, but really I don't know at this point of time. But VR seems to be as far as I worked on it, it is a very, very exciting medium. There are many stories in India. India is a treasure trove of the story and rich storytelling. There are so many stories that we have that can be exploited really, really well with the virtual reality technology. I really want to jump in and make the maximum use of it. But at this point of time, I don't know.
Well, I hope
my mind is still filled with
Bahubali, of course, but I hope you do come up with more such films, and there is more partnership with AMD as well. But Mr. Rajamouli, as we're speaking about the film and we're speaking about it to be released on the 28th of April, we have to talk about a little more of Bahubali and all that's happening around it. So I'm going to be asking you, taking this opportunity while you speak with us live this morning, how are you going to go about dealing with the entire controversy in the state of Karnataka? We're only looking at how the calls for not this film being released gaining further momentum. How will you battle it out, sir?
Actually, really, at this point of time, I would like to be in New York City rather than in Karnataka.
I can imagine.
But yesterday I made an appeal that all of you know about.
Yes.
It's a very, very sensitive issue for me to get involved more than that. We are no way related to Mr. Satyaraj's personal comments that have been reiterating again and again. I think we should see them completely apart. I made my appeal. I don't
Has
think
there
I
been a
can do
response
anything,
to your appeal? Have they reached
I
out
or
to
the
you? Has
producers
that
can
cut
do
any
anything more than
ice?
Yes, there's been a tremendous support to the film Bahubali across all the social networks, across all the mediums that you have been seeing. There's been a lot of support from Kannadigas itself towards Bahubali film. Of course, they are angered by the remarks of Mr. Satyaraj. They are angered about it. They feel angst and anger on the remarks. But most of the people, as far as the feedback that I get, don't want to relate Bahubali and that thing together.
Okay, well, I can only hope that the deadlock breaks and the film releases in Karnataka as well. But Mr. Raja Koduri, Senior Vice President of Radeon Technologies Group, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you this morning, and of course you making us familiar with the VR technology. I'm awaiting, of course, what's it going to be like to see the elephant come near me and the head rolling down the steps. That experience is something I'm awaiting. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure speaking to you live from New York. And Mr. Rajamouli, the filmmaker himself, wishing you all the very best for Bahubali. Thank you very much for speaking with us, sir.